Hi everyone, it's Ardith, and today I've got 12 Christmas gift tags in about 12 minutes. These tags were all made for Ellen Hutson's annual 12 Tags of Christmas event, and they all used Essentials by Ellen products. Each day was inspired by a Christmas song, and each one of these tag designs could be easily expanded and used as a design for a full card. This video will show quick highlights from each tag, not all the details, but I have detailed blog posts for each one, and you can find links to those on the blog post I've linked below in the description. Feel free to ask me a question in the comments below too. And I definitely want to hear which one's your favorite, or maybe your top 3. I'll tell you my top 3 at the end. To start, I used the shipping tags dies for all my tags, for a couple of reasons. First, this clever die cuts 4 tags at once from a quarter sheet of cardstock, so it's really efficient. And second, let's be honest here, just so that my daily photos where I add each tag would line up nicely. Okay, let's start with day 1, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I started with a white tag, and I used a direct-to-paper method with Catherine Pooler Rockin red ink. You've seen me do this before, and I love how easy it is to get colored cardstock in the exact color you need. You do need the re-inkers if you like to do this a lot. Next, some very quick coloring of the deer from last year's Animal Box toppers. I used the E40 family of brown markers, and I added simple dimension by using lighter and deeper shades on the face and the nose piece. Then I used some black for the little eyes, which I attached with a glue pen and a jewel picker. And finally, for the red nose, I chose 3 shades of red to add dimension and shadow there as well. I added sparkle to Rudolph's antlers with diamond stickles, and then some shine to his nose with Nouveau Crystal glaze. I stamped a pattern from Pattern Play down onto the red tag to create some texture and give it a bit of a plaid feel. This pattern is designed so that it's super easy to stamp large areas by simply moving the stamp to create a seamless pattern. I used rouge ink, which is a darker red, to create a tone-on-tone look. Rudolph is holding one of the mini tags, and I used repositionable tape to stick it to my mini Misty on a slight angle before using spruce ink and the little For You sentiment from Small Sayings. I popped everything up with foam tape and added some lawn fawn cord in festive red and white stripes. Day 2, Joy to the World. I was the Day 2 host, and I did a full video for this one on the Ellen Hutson YouTube channel, which I'll link to in the top corner, so you can go see it if you wish. I used little Squatch and retro holiday greetings. Maybe my video is only 11 cards in about 12 minutes. Moving on to day 3, I saw Mummy kissing Santa Claus. I started with a white tag, and I blended Sangria ink up from the bottom, fading out toward the top. Sangria is one of my favorite new products from 2019. It's such a gorgeous purpley red. Getting a smooth fade is really easy with life-changing blender brushes. You just need a light hand and a bit of patience. Once I had the Sangria down, I darkened up the base of the tag a bit with Juniper Mist, which is navy blue. Next, I trimmed a die-cut mistletoe sprig from Alexandra Ranke. I didn't realize it at the time, but Ellen doesn't carry this one anymore. But there are lots of mistletoe dies available in the shop, so you could get a similar look. I colored the berries with a warm gray marker just to add definition and dimension. And then I used 2 green markers to color the leaves a deep shade of green. To add some elegant shine, I used the new metallic watercolors from Altenew. These are another one of my favorite new products in 2019. I picked up some gold and I put down a light coat over the green leaves for some warm shimmer. Then I splattered it all over the tag base. This gold is so shiny and pretty. So now you see where I'm going with this. No mommy, no Santa, just kisses under the mistletoe. I used the XOXO stamp from Small Sayings and white Wow embossing powder. I stacked up 3 of the mistletoes for some dimension, and that's day 3 done. Day 4, Deck the Halls. I grabbed the holly stamp from the Holiday Characters set and I stamped it randomly on a white tag with Gina K Obsidian ink, which is another 2019 favorite. And I turned the stamp to create a random pattern. Does that make sense? Can a pattern be random? When I had the stamping done, I colored the background with a navy blue Copic marker, and then next I filled in the berries with a Copic marker that is close to Sangria. Then the leaves were done with a lime green and an aqua marker before we got to the real fun of this tag. I grabbed my Nouveau Glimmer paste in Moonstone, yet another 2019 fave, and such an easy way to add sparkle through a stencil or just over the whole thing like I'm doing here. I cut a white strip from another tag and I stamped that same For You sentiment from Small Sayings stamped in Sangria ink. Day 5, Jingle Bells. Again, I focused on a lyric rather than the title, and I created masks for O and Fun. I used separate post-it notes for each letter, and I cut them all at once to save some time. I used the classic block alphabet dies in my Gemini Junior. Then I used each mask and I blended ink through it with sponge daubers. I tilted the letters back and forth to add a bouncy feeling, and for the fun letters, I used 2 colors on each one to add some interest. I masked off the bottom 1/4 inch and I blended 2 shades of yellow across to add some brightness. Then I grabbed a little What stamp from the Booyah set, and I just used an acrylic block and VersaFine Onyx ink to stamp it into the center of all that fun. I grabbed a leftover Christmas tree from the next tag. Yes, I filmed these out of order, but you'll see what I mean in a minute, to be the center of my O, which was feeling a little heavy, all in gray like that. I put Stardust stickles around the edge of this tag for a bit of festive sparkle, and I added some gray and white cord from Lawn Fawn. Day 6. It came upon a midnight clear. This was one of the easiest tags to design and make, and those metallic watercolors from Altenew made a beautiful night sky on my black tag base. I just added water and put down some blue and purple using horizontal strokes. I left the bottom black because I knew it would be covered. I dried it with my heat gun before using that gold paint again to splatter some stars in the sky. Then I used one of the dies from the Alpine window set. Rather than trying to measure, I just glued the whole thing over the bottom, making sure the trees were straight, and then I trimmed it down to fit the tag with my scissors. This left me with that extra little tree that I used on the Day 5 tag. These watercolors are absolutely stunning on black cardstock, and they really make this simple design extra special. Day 7, Cool Yule. I knew the song but not the name, and I decided to try something fun with this snowball die from Snowbuds. I cut it from a scrap of white cardstock, and then I flipped it over and overlapped the bottom 2 snowballs so that it cut out a circle of circles. That's fun, right? Then I used a circle die to trim the wreath down. I used Copic markers to color the snowballs in a rainbow of colors, and then I used a jewel picker to pop them into place in rainbow order. I used a sentiment from Retro Holiday Greetings, and I stamped it in the center of my wreath using my Misty. I cut it apart and stamped it in 2 parts so that I could fit it perfectly in the center. For some shine, I put a coat of crystal glaze over each colorful dot, and to finish off, I popped the wreath up onto a black card base. Day 8, Let It Snow. This one started with a black tag and the snowfall die. Then I used coordinating dies to cut the snowman shape in his hat. I decided not to use the stamps, but just to add color and shading with my Copic markers. I did some quick and simple coloring, and then I glued them to my tag. I felt like I needed more snow, so I used some white Nouveau crystal drops all over to create a blizzard. I added some stickles to the trim of the hat to finish it off. Day 9, Sleigh Ride. Another white tag, and I created 2 masks with one of the landscapes dies. I masked off the ground so that I could blend ink for the sky. I used Hot Tub, Skylight, Aquatini, along with Daydream to darken it up and add some drama. Then I put the other mask down and I spread Nouveau Glimmer paste all over the white portion of the tag for some sparkly snow. I set that aside to dry and I worked on my penguin. I didn't have a sleigh, but this guy can toboggan down the sparkly snow hill very quickly. I simply added some yellow Copic to his beak and his belly and he was ready to go. For my sentiment, I cut a banner from the Parcel Box die set, and then used my Misty and stamped a little Merry Christmas from the Mountain Holiday set. I embossed it with white embossing powder, and heated it until it was all melted and smooth. Once it was cool, I blended the Daydream ink over it so that the white letters are visible. I popped up the penguin and the sentiment with foam tape, and I added some stickles for snow spray behind the penguin to add some movement to this fun tag. Day 10, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. I put a circle mask down and then I blended Twilight ink over my white tag base, like a rock, get it? Then I spritzed some Nouveau Sparkle Spray in Morning Fog over top and I dried it with my heat gun. This gives a real sparkle to my rocky background. Next, I stamped and cut the tree from holiday characters, and I used the colored lights droplets as ornaments. I placed them with a jewel picker and liquid glue. And finally, to get this tag really rockin', I used a mini wobbler to attach the tree. As always, I had trouble with the release paper, but I got there in the end, and my interactive tag is done. Day 11, White Christmas. I was focusing on someone dreaming of a white Christmas, and I thought that the speech bubble would work as a dream. So I used a speech bubble die on one of the white tags to cut a dream that would fit onto my craft tag base. I stamped the word Merry from Retro Holiday Greetings in rouge ink on the white dream. Notice that the Christmas isn't there. He's still dreaming about it. I don't know, it made sense to me at the time. Then I used some Copic markers and colored Bear from All Inside and a present from Dynamite Christmas. I gave Bear some pink cheeks and then used a pale warm gray to make him look white. The present is also white, but with a big red bow to match the sentiment. I trimmed Bear to fit on the tag with some scissors, and then I popped him up with foam tape. I added some stickles for sparkle, and now it's time for day 12. I started with a white tag and I made it red again, like day 1, with Rockin red ink. The dream idea from day 11 gave me this idea. If I did the same thing but cut the speech bubble a little differently, it looks just like Santa's beard. Then I cut a strip of black cardstock to be his belt, and I stamped a Merry Christmas sentiment from Bearware 2 and embossed it with gold embossing powder. It's not really his buckle, but it kind of all ties in. And as a final finishing touch, I grabbed one of those snowballs from day 7 and I colored it black with a Copic marker. It's a perfect button for Santa's suit. I added a little crystal glaze to make it shiny. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up below and even subscribe to my channel. These tags used a lot of products, so I've linked the main ones below, and if they're not there, please use the link for my blog post, which will in turn take you to each day's post and a detailed product list. And oh yeah, my top 3 are Santa Claus from day 12, Midnight Clear from day 6, and Mommy Kissing Santa Claus from day 3. Let me know what your favorites are in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.